Hey, it's Tay, and in this video we're going to be learning how to repot an orchid. If you like my video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Let's get into it. The orchid we're going to be repotting is one from Trader Joe's that originally cost $6.99. I saw them and thought they were so pretty, and I'd been wanting a mini orchid, so my mom actually let me use her credit card to get it. That was so sweet. It was really a gift from her. As you can see, the blooms are so bright and beautiful, and the leaves also look really, really nice and healthy as well. That's actually one of the reasons I picked this one. Also, you'll notice that the instructions say to water using 1 ice cube a week. I know this is a bit controversial as some people aren't huge fans of watering with ice cubes, but I've always had great luck in the past using them, and that's actually how I water my other larger orchid that I own. I personally find that other methods of watering make the substrate just too saturated, but it's whatever works best for you and your plant. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the orchid out of the pot. That'll be our first step. And I'll just set it over here, and then you'll notice this is actually really clean, but we might not end up using this again. It's kind of small, so we'll see. Now you'll notice that the root system also looks really healthy and bright green, and anything from a green to a white color can be a really good sign of health in most orchids. The roots also appear very firm and thick, and that's just a big reason I wanted this one. Now I'm going to go ahead and start squeezing the sides of the little plastic orchid pot to try to get it out. It's a little bit difficult with one hand, but I'm just going to start trying to maneuver it out. And now we've got it out. So I'm just going to set that over here and give you a little bit of a closer look at those beautiful roots. They're so bright green. They were probably watered recently, so they're really bright in color. They're also really firm to touch, which is a good sign of health. Now you'll notice it's really compacted in this old potting material, which we're actually going to go ahead and remove. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take one of these sticks that it came with and kind of try to break up this medium to loosen up the roots a bit. You can also use your fingers if you need to. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to break up that medium and get those roots free, but just keep working with it and you'll get it. We're just about done. I'm just trying to get these last few pieces of the orchid medium out. It's a little bit tricky. It's kind of stuck in there, so I'm just going to keep poking at it a little bit. We're pretty much done now. The flowers all still look like they're intact, which is good, but the roots look so healthy. I'm probably not going to be able to get this back into the original pot because by the time I'm trying to fit the new medium in, which includes bark and sphagnum moss, it's just going to be too crowded in there. The next thing you're going to want to do is rinse off your roots, especially in my case I have some extra dirt on there. Just be careful that you don't get water on the leaves. If you do, just make sure you dry them off good. If you do get water on and don't dry them off, it can cause crown rot and other issues, so that's an important part of this. Also, it's important to make sure that your water is not too hot, not too cold. Try to get it like a room temperature. Okay, so I figured out how to flip the camera so I won't have to hold it anymore. As you can see, I got the roots really good and cleaned off, and they look super healthy, nice and bright green because I recently got water on them. And now I'm going to dry off my leaves. So while you're drying it off, definitely make sure that you get down in the crown. If you don't get all the water out of there, it can get crown rot, and you don't want to get that. It's not going to be fun. What I like to do is I like to take and kind of roll up or fold my paper towel so it's got a nice point, and I kind of just stick it in the crown and also along the different leaves to make sure I really get all that water out and make sure it soaks it all up and it's nice and dry. The next thing you'll notice is these leaves are kind of yellow in color and they're real small, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove them. I'm just going to remove them as close to the crown as possible. And this one as well. And I don't feel like we really have to remove this one, but it's kind of yellow, so we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. The next thing you want to do is clean with alcohol and make sure you have some kind of scissors or cutters. These are the ones I'm going to be using in this case. So we want to go ahead and clean them so that the plant doesn't get any viral or fungal or bacterial or any kind of infection, basically. And there we go, we got it. So now we're going to go ahead and check out the root system, see if anything needs to be cut. You can see that this one right here has kind of a funky, dead-looking spot at the end of it, so I'm going to go ahead and snip that off. And so I'll show you a little close-up of that so you can get a better look. And then we're just going to go ahead and look through and see if we see anything else that needs to be snipped. Oh, here's a little bit more dirt. Let me get rid of that. Okay. And okay, here's one. It's really funky and black and dead looking, so we're going to snip that off as well. And I'll also give you a little bit closer look at that nasty rotten piece. And then I actually noticed that there's like a rotten looking piece. I don't know if you could see that, but it's like right not too far from the crown and it's literally barely hanging off. So we're going to go ahead and snip that off as well. I know the rest of the root looks good, but we have plenty of roots and it shouldn't cause any problems, so we'll snip that off. And I'll get you a little close-up of that. It was literally hanging on by like a few threads. And so it looks like I've got them pretty good, but I'm just going to do a little quick look through and clean up a few things. I'm just going to make sure there's no more dark spots or rotten spots. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to punch some holes around the small container that it came in. The next thing I'd like to point out is I went ahead and put more holes in this. You can see the ones that I did around the top are the ones that I made with the hole punch, and then I burned some more in the bottom. So, now that it's clean and has more drainage holes, I'm going to see if this is a good size. And like I said at the beginning, it's more likely going to be too small since I've loosened up the roots and need a little more room for the medium. And definitely appears I'll need to upgrade. As you can see, if I were to repot the orchid in this pot, it would be completely root bound and there would be no room for the necessary medium or future growth. Orchids do like to be root bound, but this is just too cramped. As you can see, this pot that I have is significantly bigger than my original one, but it should be good. I went ahead and put holes around it, and I think this will allow me to put a good amount of medium in and allow for future growth, but at the same time still allow the roots to be somewhat confined. The next thing I want to do, which I do for a lot of my plants, is I take hydrogen peroxide, 3%, and I just spray it on the roots. This is relatively safe for most plants, and it can help kill any bacteria or viruses or fungal infections that your plant might have. It also helps prevent them. And now I'm going to go ahead and start putting my orchid potting mix in the pot, and I will also insert a photo of what the particular mix that I'm using is, which is the Better Grow Special Orchid Potting Mix. And then the other thing that I'm going to be using is sphagnum moss, and I use what's called spag moss, and I will also insert a clip of what that looks like. The reason I use sphagnum moss, like so many others, is it really helps to hold in that moisture so that the roots can get a nice soaking, basically, but you don't want too much sphagnum moss, or else your roots can become too saturated. You really want that nice balance of holding in moisture but also having really good drainage so your roots can breathe. Once I get my orchid nice and tucked in, I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the sides with a little bit of bark, maybe a tiny bit of sphagnum moss so that it doesn't rock around, and obviously so it's nice and centered and stands up straight. Another thing I'd like to point out is there's a root sticking out the side, and that's actually a really good sign. You really want to see this. They're called air roots, and they basically grow outside of the pot in order to capture more moisture from the air. And it's just a really good sign of health, and it's completely normal. And some orchids actually get them all over, and sometimes it looks kind of crazy, but it's nothing to worry about. And the next thing I'd like to do is I'm going to take the sticks that it came with, and if yours didn't come with sticks for some reason, you can take a chopstick or whatever you need to, but I'm just going to stick it down in the medium, and I'm going to take my little clips that it came with, and you can use a hair clip, and I'm just going to clip it there. And that'll really help hold the stems in place. All right, just like that, and it looks really good. And the final step is to take your beautiful orchid and place it in a pot of your choice. I'm going to be using this cute little blue cat one, and in my personal preference, I prefer not to have a little hole in the pot so that it kind of serves as a drainage saucer type thing, so that way it can catch any excess water that drains out of the little pot that I put inside of it, that the orchid's in. And that way, whether you prefer to use ice cubes or actually water your orchid with water, you can just take the pot and dump out any excess liquid. My pot that I have actually came from And That, and I will put the name below. And my personal preference is I find that it works for me to water my orchids with ice cubes about once a week, but I will also water if I notice that the medium is getting dry. I personally put several ice cubes, just kind of depends on the size of the plant, and then if there's any excess moisture in the bottom, then I will dump that out. Again, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll also link my Instagram accounts down below if you'd like to follow them. There's mine and all of my pets, and I'm going to be posting a lot more about horticulture and plants in general, so don't forget to stay tuned. Bye, y'all.